I will present, and I try to be very short, the AKKM. And yeah. Well, AKKM is located actually very close to Linnahall, very close to Culture Cauldron, or the creative hub that was shown, and also next to the Kultuurikatla aed that you just saw in the previous slides. So it is situated in this location. And to introduce you shortly to the history of AKKM, I have put together some notes. So I have divided the history of AKKM into 3 periods. So the first period is from 2006 to 2009, and we can also say that AKKM is also having an anniversary of 10 years this year, and which AKKM was led by Marko Laimre and Neeme Külm, and we can call it an anarchist phase. From 2009 to 2015, when AKKM was led by me and Neeme Külm, we can call it the self-instituting phase. And from 2016 onwards, AKKM is led by our former or our current associates, close associates, Martin Esko and Johannes Säre. What is AKKM actually? AKKM is a do-it-yourself museum. Basically, in the end of 2006, we squatted an abandoned Tallinn Heat office building, and initially the idea was that maybe we'll do some artist studios there, but when we explored the place, it turned out just to be too good for having it just for the artist studios, and we decided that we will make it an open space, perhaps an open gallery. In 2007, we did the first exhibition there, and it was curated by one of the establishers of AKKM, Elin Kard. And since then, we started to make an exhibitions. By the end of 2007, we decided to call it the Museum of Contemporary Art. There are not only vacant spaces in the city, but there are also vacant names, and the Museum of Contemporary Art was definitely one of these. So we just used a good old situationist act of the tournement, and we just took the name and put the label on our house. So it was a kind of a punk gesture, but it was also something that we had to take responsibility for, and first and foremost with this, we started to think what the museum is, what kind of a museum should be, and how the museum could and should operate differently than they normally do. So I just show some images of the house here from the previous years. One of the things that we decided to do is turn everything into an art project, which is also a very useful tool, because this is how you can actually finance your activities. Since probably nobody would have invested money in our plan to make a bar, so you have to make a bar as an art project. So this is how you can finance it. And so we did, and we redesigned the bar in 2015, and perhaps it's not so much visible here, but for example, the wall design is from the Jasmina Cibic's Slovenian artist design for her participation at the Venice Biennial in 2014. And also one of the things that the museum had to have, so in order to perform a museum, we also needed to start a collection, and of course we didn't have any money for that either. So basically we started to collect things, but we decided that some kind of a symbolic exchange between the artist and the institution should take place. So for example, this is a first piece ever that we collected, and it's by Raul Keller. It's a reflector, and it's a sound piece that actually transforms the sounds from the area where the work is situated into a new sounds in the different time frame. And this work was purchased for €1, found in the courtyard of the culture cauldron nearby. This is a work by Kiva. The Motor Girls Perform for You in 2003. That was purchased for €2, stolen from the tip jar of the Kumu Art Museum cafeteria, for example. Or the stage. This is also something, turn everything you need into an artwork, and it will work actually. So this is a stage, and we needed a stage in order to make concerts, but of course nobody would give us funds to actually make a stage just like that. So Neeme Külm, one of the establishers, made the stage as a sculpture for an exhibition. So it now is a stage, but it's also a work of art. Or another way of collecting. This is a work by Laura Kuusk, The Knife 1 and 2, perhaps some references to Cindy Sherman. And it's basically acquired over an exchange with an artist. So we exchanged the work for an invitation to make an exhibition in 2013. And the artist had a possibility to choose whether it will be a personal solo exhibition or a curated show, and it turned out to be a huge international exhibition curated by her and Pascal Riou, the French curator. One thing that we established also was a Köhler Prize, and the first time it was in 2011. You see the winning work, and it's probably turned out to be the most successful of our undertakings. Why Köhler? It rhymes with Turner, of course, and the other reason was that basically Köhler is a 19th century horrific academic painter, but all the art prizes in Estonia were named after the early 20th century modernist artists. But we wanted to make the most important art prize in Estonia, so we probably, since the idea was that the older the better, so we took the oldest artist there is available, who is actually an Estonian and not Baltic German. So Köhler is an establisher of the painting habit, or Estonian painting habit, if you want to. And yeah, this is a work by Evgeny Zolotko, the winner of the first Köhler Prize, and here's the party, the Köhler Prize gala in our yard. And I choose to show another work from Köhler Prize exhibition, and winner of the 2013 Köhler Prize was Jaanus Samma, and actually this installation represented Estonia in Venice Biennial last year, or the development of the same project, and it's currently shown at the Museum of Occupations in Tallinn. So you can actually visit and see the work and what happened to it. Yeah. So the Goethe Prize gala event is also very, very important in the context of the award. And so a little bit we'll talk about the chronology of the things. So we established the collection in 2007. In 2009, we opened a bar, a very important institution for a museum. From 2010 onwards, we started to operate regularly from April to October, doing approximately 4 to 6 exhibitions per season. We also have a regular funding for our activities since that time, and some permanent jobs as well. Together with Lugemik, a small publishing company run by Indrek Sirkel and Anu Vahtra, we opened a bookshop that you can see in this slide back there. And in 2014, we opened ISFA Gallery together with the Installation and Photo Department of Estonian Academy of Arts in one of the remote corners of EKKM. And probably, so this was a very, very short and hectic overview of our activities that we actually do. But since it's a conference dedicated to Vacant City, I will talk a little bit about the development of the house and our relations to the city, which have not been not that uncomplicated over the years. But basically the house of EKKM belongs to the city of Tallinn, and it had stood empty since the early 90s. I remember from my childhood, from the 80s when it was still operating, but basically I think that from the early 90s onwards, it had stood empty. It was inhabited by homeless people mostly, and probably would have, and it was enlisted as a property to be sold by the city of Tallinn in 2006. So in 2010, we managed to remove the property from the list of the real estate to be sold, to bring it from the administration of the city property office, which basically is an office that only deals with selling property that belongs to the city, under the administration of the Heritage Protection Office, and enter into rental contract with the city. In 2011, our contract and the house went over from the Heritage Protection Office to the Cultural Cauldron Foundation. And in 2012, we submitted an application in order to enter into long-term contract with the Cultural Cauldron Foundation to open up the possibilities for renovation as well as extension of the building. CCF postponed trying the case for many years, until in May 2014 the new director of the CCF was appointed, who openly declared that he will not deal with our case until the Cultural Cauldron building is ready. In September and October 2014, we learned suddenly that Tallinn City and the CCF are planning to split the lot and sell EKKM yard together with the area known as the Garden of the Cultural Cauldron, also that you saw in the slides of the previous presenter, in order to build a 5-story office building and finance with the money earned, of course, the reconstruction of the Cultural Cauldron, endangering severely our further existence there, since without the yard we have no future development perspectives. And at the beginning of 2015, we organized protest action against this and the planning ideas around culture, cauldron and ecochem in general, together with the local community center Telliskivi who has been, we are now at the Telliskivi area of Tallinn, and who has been standing for many, or against many, bad developments of the area. And due to this, ecochem was invited to discuss the matter further, and thus the compromise was made. We were able to keep the yards in the frames we are currently using, but the garden of Culture Cauldron will fall victim to the real estate development anyway, and by this action we were forced to basically to silence by the city, so we could not openly criticize the activities of the city with this case any longer. So. But our prospect in this sense looks a bit better, and we are currently working on a plan how to renovate the house finally and to develop our further activities. So you see a sketch here by the Salto architects that was made actually already 6 years ago, but we are now trying to really start to work on this idea further. And yeah, so that ends my presentation.